Yo, what's going on, guys? Hope you're all having a good weekend. Figured we were due for another video. Been a few months, so something came up in the chat. I think it was this week, um, and it got me really pumped up. So I wanted to, after I started thinking about it, I was like, dude, this is the next title of the next video. So I remember we were talking about, I think it was PVDG, right? I think it's a pretty dilutive ticker. Anyway, none of that shit matters. So what ended up happening is, you had some people who were doubting it was going to continue, or who were saying that people were going to get bagged on the run, and it went a whole lot further. And to be honest, it surprised me. Like, I didn't expect it to make that type of a move. I know it surprised a lot of people. And so that sort of brings me to the whole point of this video, which is that, there's a lesson in that. And, I think it's confusing a lot of the time, especially when you're on social media, because you'll see people talking about their trades or talking about the stock market or whatever. And the way they talk about shit is sort of like they know what's going to happen, right? And to me, like, that's problematic, and it's hella fucking confusing for somebody who's trying to learn how to trade, because you're sitting there like, all right, so how do they know this? Like, how do they know that? How do they know for sure? And you're trying to go and look at the DD or look at the chart or whatever, look at the price action, and figure out what the fuck these people are seeing, where they know for sure that their investment is going to go to a penny or whatever the heck bullshit, their line of bullshit they're spitting. So, and I think it's important to remember that, and this is what I said in the chat, is that the whole point of trading is not knowing what's going to fucking happen, but it's managing what might happen, right? And obviously, you're not going around guessing. You want to put yourself in high risk or high reward, low risk situations, right? So, but that's the whole point, is look at that phrase itself, risk reward. There's a risk. There's a fucking risk. So, so that's sort of brought me to this whole line of logic that I realize I use every single day, every single second, every single trade, all day long, and I didn't even realize, I was thinking this way, but the more I do think about it as like a model in my mind, the more helpful I've actually found it. So I think some of you guys are going to find this video to be the most helpful of the three that I've done. Some of you guys are going to hate it, because it's going to be like the most general video, which in a way is super helpful, right? Because you can apply it to your own trading style, or to your own types of trades, or to almost any type of way of looking at, I don't want to say the stock market, but looking at the OTC. Some of you guys aren't going to find it helpful because it's going to be the least technical, so there's not going to be a lot of you're not going to see really how I trade, but I think it's a helpful way of thinking to apply to your trading. Anyways, so the OTC as a working hypothesis, right? And that's how I look at trading in general, but that's definitely how I look at OTC, is that everything is a hypothesis. So you don't go in saying this is going to happen, you go in saying this is what I think is going to happen, right? And every little candle on the chart, every little trade on level 2, every new piece of DD that hits, all this shit should be either serving to confirm or deny your hypothesis. So if you go into trading with an open mind like that, and you're always going to be able to admit when you're wrong, which is good, a lot of these, a lot of what's happening with when you're trading OTC is, you're sort of like, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and a lot of shit's up in the air, especially if you trade dark companies, which is like what I made my entire, dark companies made me who I am. So you're always going to be doing a little guesswork. and you're never going to know for sure. So you don't really know, like how many notes are out there. Is somebody about to start dumping, or is this thing trading clean for whatever reason for the next couple months? And then a lot of shit you'll see, like perfect examples of what's been happening lately is, the merger with RS, the merger with reverse split. So sometimes you're going to see shit tank when there's a mention of reverse split. Other times you're going to see them just keep on running. I remember, the first few was like KRFG was a big one. So they mentioned a split back in the triples, and everybody was like, oh shit. I think it was in the triples. And everybody's like, oh shit, I guess I better sell. And it ran to like, I think almost, it ran to like mid to high sub penny. So, another one was what's the one with the luggage company, DAVC, right? So same shit happened. I mean, I think the split was announced at 30. It ran to like $0.015. This was a few months back. So anyway, you got a hypothesis, and in that case, your hypothesis would be what? All right, the market's not going to like this filing. No, the market's going to love this filing, and everybody's got their opinion, and what they say about opinions, but eventually somebody ends up being right. So that's your hypothesis, right? I think that people aren't going to give a shit about this KRFG reverse split because this, and this. So that's great. All right, so you wake up that morning, you watch the action. Every single trade on level 2, everything as it's happening in the moment should be information for you to either say, all right, I'm more sure that I'm right, or I'm more sure that I'm wrong, And you should never sit there and be so confident in your decisions that you feel like you don't even have to watch the market or even think about it. But you should also never sit there and be like second guessing yourself all the time, right? So you go in with a theory and you see if it works. So I'm going to screenshot some different examples of this. Like I say, this applies to like everything: due diligence, level 2s, whatever. Like you can literally apply it to anything. I thought another really great example was PDPR. Right, so this is sort of an example moving the opposite direction, but we saw that big. I don't know if you guys remember. We saw that big load day. So they hit like 50 million plus off the ask in one block, and after I saw that, I'm sitting there like, all right, somebody fucking loaded. Like they loaded, right? So this thing's gonna go for sure, and this is where like I need to be reminded of my own little. My own little way of thinking here, because I was sitting there saying, all right, somebody loaded, this thing's going to get a big promo, and I knew the CEO had a bunch of unrestricted shares too. Not going to mention any names, but that one had a lot of promoters on it, higher up, so I figured these guys will come back, or he's got hookups with a new, new network of promoters or whatever. The guy knows how to run a promo. So that's my hypothesis, right? The loading only, served to confirm that for me. And then when we saw that filing hit, and I think it was like a bunch more unrestricted shares that guy got, right? So I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, what's he going to do with those? Same thing he did with the last ones, which is, promote and get the price up and sell them for a lot more money and, go on some vacation or whatever the fuck that guy does. So I was wrong. And this is an example of, because what did we see happen? That guy took those shares that he got paid and he just dumped them, for one. So, that's a good example of I wasn't viewing the market as a working hypothesis. I was viewing the market like my hunch. It wasn't fluid and dynamic enough, and I made it. I was so set in my mind, and I remember, Mom, money on my mind, said, it's a bad filing. And I said, nah, dude, you don't know it's a bad filing. It'd be a good filing. It's all open to interpretation. And that's my point, is everything's always open to interpretation. Now, you can interpret all you want, but eventually somebody ends up being right. And he was right? And guess what? I had 30 million shares, so that cost me $3,000. That fucking stupid ego nonsense where I wasn't able to revise my own hypothesis, at least. And I mean, I was after the ass stacked up, but by then it was too late. So, you got to be able to revise it quickly too, because that's what's going to save you money. So, so I'm going to go I'll show you guys some screen captures uh, of like examples of this where like you can choose to well, you know, I'll show you uh, you know, like what I'm talking about with PDPR, or I'll show you what I'm talking about with KRFG, you know, and I'll show you these filings, and I'll show you how sort of at the time, like hindsight's 2020, but at the time, you sit there and you know that's shut up. Yeah, my friend's dog here. You know, you sit there and you gotta form some type of conjecture, right? And and then I'll show you how in the moment you could have seen, all right, it's looking more like I'm right, it's looking more like I'm right, or more like I'm wrong, or more like I'm wrong, you know. And the quicker you can figure that shit out, you can either average up or you can get out or average down or whatever. So, but that's what I would always remember is remember we're operating in this dark. Shut up. We're operating in this dark sort of you know, murky world, and like for you to act like you're able to know everything, or you know, even in the normal stock market you're not able to know everything. So always remember that everything is up in the air. You can be wrong, you know, and you don't, that doesn't even make you a bad trader. Like if you're wrong, you got to just be able to admit you're wrong quick enough to be able to get out, you know, especially in triple zeros, right? Because the spreads are everything, and you know, with your the value of your assets. So that's what I would remember. It's just like, and everything that I do, like I'm a guy who, I started in my fucking bedroom, you know. I had no connections, nobody helping me. I knew nothing about this world. And most of the knowledge that I've gleaned in all this stuff has been through just theorizing, you know. And then I either see over the years, like, yeah, I think people are doing that, or, you know, they're not doing that, because nobody's going to tell you. You know, these guys, like, that have notes or whatever, like, they're not going to tell me this shit. They don't want me to know it. Like, the last thing they wanted to see have happen is me make all the money I've made in the OTC. You know, that's not what everybody wants to have happen. The market makers, the CEOs, the note holders, like, they do not need a new kid on the block coming up. You know, that doesn't make them happy. So when you're learning, you're always going to be sort of theorizing and learning on your own. And even if like, I'm sure you guys have had people tell you stuff that you later figured out is bullshit about the OTC, right? So everything you're told, everything you learn, it's all a working hypothesis. And that's like, I guess, I hope you know, I tend to ramble a lot when I try to communicate these type of ideas I have, but I hope I've like showed you guys what I mean by this. Like everything, like from the very most nitty gritty analysis to like the whole broad like system of how it works. So I guess the key idea I'm trying to communicate here is you figure out the system, you figure out the players involved, which by the way you do through hypothesis, you know, in the first place. But and then once you figure that out and you know who's affecting what, you know, you got your note holders, you got your company management, which might be more or less connected, but you know, you got your traders, you got your groups, you got your idiots, you know, your sheep, you got. So understand all these players involved, and then form your idea on who's going to be in control and what are they going to make happen. And then you know, bottom line is what's that going to do to the price, because that's all we care about. So anyways, like I say, I'll go into a few more specifics on the screen capture. I'm going to post this video today so that you guys can let me know if there's anything you want me to be more clear about, or you know, go and do more in depth tomorrow. And yeah, so just like I said, let me know. And I'm gonna make the screen capture second half tomorrow, and hopefully we can go from there. And then you guys can let me know if it was a total waste of time, or if it helped you make some fucking money or whatever. So anyways, I'm gonna go to the beach now. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Everybody have fun, and I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow.